My thought is that the people on the outside, somewhere in the boardroom, have already decided that based on the numbers, based on the science, based on the probability, this many people will probably get infected. This many people will probably die if they have these underlying conditions. This many people will probably recover. Some will have some ailments, some won't. I think someone's already ran the numbers on this, and they're willing to roll the dice and allow it to play out in a certain kind of way because everybody who is there represents a part of their budget.
They open our cell doors, and now we come running like stampedes and enraged and encaged animals. We are not aware, as we may seem blind, to the slave master tactics that are placed right in front of our eyes. Black men.
The Michigan Department of Corrections is unequivocally ill-equipped to take on this pandemic.
People can't comprehend the complex web of what's being done in prison and these interest groups and things that are the reasons why they're holding us in prison. It's not because I'm an inherent threat.
We are being shifted around from infected environments to a non-infected environment, back to a more infected environment, as if our lives have no value.
They'd rather make money off of me or drive me crazy or sadistically punish me for whatever reason that is.
Anxiety, psychosis, and stress is so thick, one can cut it with a knife.
If I say to you that it is my strong belief and opinion, I don't have any evidence, but it's my strong belief and opinion that someplace in a room, in a boardroom, at some higher levels of government and above, beyond government, people have already ran the numbers, they've done the statistics, they've done the trajectory, and they have decided that a certain percentage of people will die. These people in this population are more susceptible to the death, and a certain percentage of people will definitely become infected, but a certain percentage of them will recover. And as far as our gains and losses, we will take that as an acceptable loss if we can manage it. I think that people have thought about it in that way.
The key to magic is misdirection and misinformation. That makes the MDOC today's Houdini. With Chris Gautz as their ventriloquist doll, they disseminate skewed data and false information regarding the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the prisons.
MDOC, people, whoever profits from your being there, I believe that they've thought about it in that way. They've thought about it in terms of dollars and cents. What is your response to that?
I agree, Darnell. We got to get to these special interest groups, these people that hide, these so-called evangelicals and these money people, all the people that are special interest groups that are, like you said, benefiting. And not only special interest groups, our government that says, oh, we need a disparity council and minorities are at risk, and these doctors in Khaldun. Well, Khaldun, guess what? All the cultural people that you speak about that are at risk are here in prison. There's an overwhelming amount of black people and Hispanic people, and all the people that you say are at risk are here right now. So do something about it. That's how I feel about it. Like, look into prison and consider that as a population of people that will be a part of society that are living humans, not as cattle or people that you can gloss over because the special interest groups are trying to make money.
From the start, the Department of Corrections was slow to react. Many inmates took it upon themselves to wear makeshift masks with multiple layers of material they constructed from their limited resources, only to be met with threats of resistance from staff and administrators.
You know, as far as, the CO telling me that they let these sick officers come in, man, that's real sad. He said he don't care about catching corona, and he don't care about giving it to us. So, just letting you know, just letting the public know, this is how some of these guys operate, man. Some of them suicide bombers. They wouldn't mind being asymptomatic, contracted some illness, and bringing it in here and dying in the midst of killing us.
I think that because the prison industrial complex is such a big business and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and so many people are employed and making money from the machinery of this apparatus, I think that some people somewhere are employed to run the numbers and to set the formula by which if we follow this particular schematic, this particular formula, there will be a certain profit margin.
Of course.
For instance, if I know that 3,000 people each year on average, I don't know what the numbers are, but if 3,000 people each year come up for parole, I believe that there is a percentage somewhere in somebody's formula or book that they've worked out and said that if we preserve this particular percentage of persons into the system for at least another year or another 2 years, flop them, then that will guarantee a certain revenue that's already built in, padded into the next year's budget. And I think there are certain persons that they have said these are the top 10 types of people or types of cases, or if they fit within this criteria, we will automatically flop them in order to make that quota. What is your thought on that?
I would agree with that.
Long intermittent sentences that extend beyond the lifespan of any human are being used to circumvent the abolishment of the death penalty in Michigan. Life without parole is a sentence to die, a slow, miserable death in a cage.
I'd like to use the term held over or preserved, which I think is going to be this new term that I'm going to use. Because it seems like I've known a number of people who I call being held prisoner, who have been held over. I've gone to the parole hearings and such, and I've seen people be flopped or preserved or held over, and I'm just like, why do you think that there are so many persons who seem to be held over or preserved, recycled into the system?
It kind of makes me think that there's a quota of people that they can let go each year. And even amidst this pandemic, I see that there's countless people that should be released to make room for social distancing, just to make it a safer environment in here. I mean, basically, it's a petri dish for virus or infection, and yet the things, the proactive behaviors that could be taken, people being released, people that are past their out dates. I don't know. It's big business. I feel like it's just. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that question.
My thought is that the people on the outside, somewhere in the boardroom, have already decided that based on the numbers, based on the science, based on the probability, this many people will probably get infected. This many people will probably die if they have these underlying conditions. This many people will probably recover. Some will have some ailments, some won't. I think someone's already ran the numbers on this, and they're willing to roll the dice and allow it to play out in a certain kind of way because everybody who is there represents a part of their budget.
If you need help seeing the political magic of verbal pacification and spotting an MDOC lie, it usually begins with the words, "We are looking into it."
Yes, sir. That is correct. We actually just came out with an executive order from the governor to whereas we get our disciplinary, we can get them restored, meaning the ones that was forfeited and taken away. The warden has said she's not giving in. She's going to wait and see what happens. She's going to wait to see if this thing plays out. So basically saying she's going to wait to see how many people die, how many people get sick, or what the governor does. That is their mindset. So they just talk all this.
What is your response to that?
Oh, you basically telling me, regardless of how you say you care for us, you really don't care for us. Because if you care for us, you would do something about it. There's only one or two ways that you do it, you don't.
And something has to be done now in order to change these situations in here where humans reside, because you're dealing with people, yeah.
What are your thoughts as it regards reasonable loss of life? I think that there's a think tank somewhere. Somebody in some room has already decided that this percentage is an acceptable amount of losses based on the profits.
Right. And unfortunately, like you stated, the mass majority of us, you know, that have passed away or likely to contract the illness is just like it is in the streets. It's black people.
So if I use the analogy that the house is burning, do we get the people out or do we let them perish? The house is burning. No, let's get some of the people out. Just get the people on the first floor. Do we get all the people out? Do we get the man on the third floor who we have to carry down the stairs? What is your thought on the house burning? Or no, maybe the house is not burning yet. Let's see how much it burns. What's your thought on that?
Their analogy is who's in the house. The people that are in the house, are they worth saving? And this is what we have to look at. Because you have non-violent offenders that are here, and they still not letting them go, that are past their earliest release date. So it's not even about, okay, which one. It's about the people, they don't care. They're like, we just going to see what happens. It's just going to stop. It may rain, or they'll pull it out themselves. But they just don't sit back and watch. And that is exactly what's happening.
So the same Federal Reserve note that you putting in place of putting it before human beings and human lives, man, is like, that can never be justifiable. I don't care if you took all of them throughout the whole nation, 365 million of them, or however many it is. It's not worth one life, because a piece of you died when that individual died. And I tell you what, everybody in here that died because of COVID-19, that blood is on every leader's hands. That blood is on their hands, man, because they failed to act. And they put that money, alleged money, whatever you want to call it, before us.